One evening, Henry was taking a goods train to the big station. The sun was setting as he climbed Gordon's Hill. But as he neared Marin Station, Henry found himself slowing down to a stop. "We aren't supposed to stop here," said Henry, puzzled, but he soon found out why. His driver had suddenly been taken ill. The fireman helped him to the station master's office. "What about my train?" Henry asked. Edward came to take the train the rest of the way. And Emily shunted Henry back to the shed. "I'm sure your driver will get well soon," comforted Emily, and she puffed away, leaving Henry alone in the shed. The next morning, all the other engines had left the shed except Henry, and he was growing impatient. "Where are they? If I'm late, my passengers and the Fat Controller will be cross." Just then, Henry's fireman arrived. "Good morning, Henry," said the fireman. "The Fat Controller's arranged for a relief drive until your regular one returns." Henry was worried. His driver knew how to handle him and treated his controls with care. The Fat Controller then walked up with a rather stern-looking man in a driver's uniform.
"Henry, while your driver's taken ill, this man will be your relief driver,"
announced the Fat Controller. Henry looked doubtfully at his new driver.
"I trust you'll make him feel welcome."
When the Fat Controller left, the driver eyed Henry up and down. "Now, Henry, is it? I want to prove to the Fat Controller what a good driver I can be, so I won't have any nonsense from you, or I shall be extremely cross." He climbed into the cab, and Henry went to fetch his coaches. Each morning, when Henry fetches his coaches, his driver makes sure he backs down onto them gently. But the new driver wasn't so careful. He caused Henry to bump the coaches as he backed down onto them. "Oh! Ouch!" yelled the coaches. "Oh, I'm sorry," apologised Henry. The driver handled him rather roughly on the way to the big station. When they reached the station, Thomas was waiting on the opposite platform. "Are you all right, Henry?" asked Thomas. "No," groaned Henry. But he couldn't say why unless the driver heard him. Soon his passengers were boarded and it was time to leave. Thomas watched as Henry pulled them roughly away. When they reached the open line, the driver wanted to go faster, so he ordered the fireman to stoke up the fire. "Oh, this isn't good for me," groaned Henry. "Rubbish, Henry," said the driver crossly. "The trouble with you is that you're lazy. I don't think you know what hard work is." The rude remark made Henry furious. They soon arrived at Crosby Station. But when it was time to leave, Henry wouldn't steam and refused to move. "What are you playing at, Henry?" scolded the driver. The passengers began to grumble and complain. Just then, Gordon steamed in with the express. The Fat Controller was on board, and he came to see what the matter was.
What is all this?
Demanded the Fat Controller. Henry explained about how rough the new driver made him run. This made the Fat Controller cross.
You must understand, driver,
Said the Fat Controller.
that Henry is a hard worker, but he is very high-strung and must be treated kindly.
The driver saw the error of his ways and apologised to Henry for being so rough with him. "Can you give me another chance to prove myself?" he asked Henry. "Of course, sir," said Henry. So the driver climbed back into the cab, and the train gently pulled out of the station. They had a splendid run, and for the rest of the day, the driver allowed Henry to go at his own pace. That evening, when Henry returned to the shed, the driver spoke to him. "I shouldn't have been so foolish, but now I'll see that you are indeed a hard-working engine." "Thank you, sir." Henry was pleased that his relief driver wasn't so bad at all. But all the same, when his regular driver returned a week later, Henry was very pleased indeed.